I'm seeing familiar faces.
Okay. Abhiskar is back here, and he also does meditation. This is another motivation for the kids. I was having a talk with him a little earlier, and we were discussing what he uses for meditation, and he's even starting a meditation class in Microsoft, and more people are joining in. So yeah, go ahead and ask him any questions you have.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for any questions you might have before Vivek's class. I think some of you are trying to ask questions, but you're muted, so feel free to unmute. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, of course. And what is your name?
Neil,
Neil. Okay, yeah. What's your question, Neil?
how did you get into MIT?
That's a great question. It's asking me to save the recording. Should I save? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think you just, yeah. Okay. Great question. How did I get into MIT? First of all, I think I was I was really always curious. Like I mentioned, when I was back in the refugee camps, I was always curious to learn everything, and because of my curiosity, I think I naturally um, became more successful in school because I was curious. Every single thing that was taught to me in middle school, high school, I would always question. I would always ask my teachers, "How do you do that? How do you do this?" And I think that curiosity led me to know a lot more than other people in terms of just course material. Right, every single lesson we learned in science or in math, I would never take anything for granted. I would never, when somebody teaches me something, instead of saying, okay, that sounds good, I will note that down for the quiz, I would always say, why is that the case? And why is it so? And because of that, I think I became really interested in learning more about things in general. And because of that, I learned more, I got better grades, and I was also I think I was also a very active person in high school. I did, in addition to being curious and learning a lot and getting good grades, I also did other activities. I played soccer. I was into other sports. I was into volunteering, giving back to communities. I participated in events at school, and because of all of this, I think MIT saw me as a well-rounded individual, which means someone who is great in school and studies, but also very good in other areas of life, and volunteers and gives back and stays active, and I think because of that, I think that helped me get into MIT. Yes. I think, yeah. I know some people are raising hands. Let's see. Feel free to unmute and just ask your question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what are the ways to enjoy a subject if it's difficult?
Okay, and what's your name?
Ahana.
Ahana. Okay, that's a great question. How do I enjoy something that is difficult? I think you often have a hard time when you're struggling with something, and when something is difficult, it is very hard to enjoy it. I've noticed that a lot. Back when I was learning English, I did not enjoy the process of learning English. It was often very confusing. There were way too many words, and sometimes the same words meant different things. And I was just really confused most of the time. So it was a struggle, but I often realize that every time I overcome a challenge, every time I do something that is difficult and I'm able to say that I overcome it, and I was able to accomplish it, that gives me a lot of a sense of pride. And that gave me, when I look back, I was a lot more. I felt like I enjoyed a lot more. So while you are doing something difficult, you might not find it enjoyable, but when you accomplish it and when you look back on it, you will cherish that moment and you will enjoy. So it's the same way when you study for a really difficult exam, and it's not fun when you study it, maybe if you don't enjoy the subject, but at the end you maybe get an A on the exam, and then when someone asks you that question and you're able to answer it and then you understand what you're saying, that gives you a lot of pleasure. So sometimes it's often the struggle, the after the struggle, that you sort of really get to enjoy. And sometimes, for me, like if I am to answer your question honestly, I mean, the previous answer was, I think, in the most case, but for me, I actually enjoy the challenge. Whenever something is difficult, whenever something is hard, I actually enjoy doing that thing more than things that are easy, because easy things are easy. Um, I don't find easy things interesting. You know, if somebody tells me to recite from A to Z, I'm not going to do it because it's easy. You know, I could do it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Why would I? But hey, if somebody gives me a calculus problem, then it's a little difficult, it's a little challenging, but I wanna give it a shot, you know, because that's more interesting, it's more fun, it's more cool. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yes.
It is it does make sense.
Okay. Thank you for your question. Someone else? Anyone else?
I have a question.
Okay. And what's your name?
Danush.
Okay. Then Ganesh?
Danush.
Danush. Okay, sorry. Yep.
What kept you to keep on like studying?
Oh, what motivates me to keep me studying?
Yeah.
Whenever I know something, there's something that inside of me that just sparkles in with joy. It might sound a little strange, but if I don't know anything and somebody tells me something I don't know and now I know it, that is one of the most satisfying feelings I ever get. I don't know if you felt that way, but say your mom or your dad has hid a candy jar and you don't know where it is, and all of a sudden you find when there you find a clue to where that jar might be. Say you there's a little rat or a little ant, and you start following the ant's foot tracks, and you follow the ant and you finally find that candy jar. Isn't that the most satisfying feeling? You figured out that ants are attracted to sweets, and you follow the ants so that you find that candy jar. Now all of a sudden you used a tool that you have send your intellect to find an answer to a question that you would like to know but you don't know, and then getting there is the process itself is very satisfying. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I have another question.
Okay.
Did you ever get bored of studying?
Yeah, yes. I think there are many times where I've gotten bored of studying and I felt like I should just go out and play soccer. I love playing soccer. So every time I didn't enjoy something, I would just, can I just go play soccer? I would just try to stop um, so it depends. I think oftentimes when I feel bored by when I'm studying, I try to change the way I'm thinking about the subject, because every single thing is interesting if you just have to see it a little differently. Math, initially I find math very interesting, but initially it wasn't very interesting at all. Like I was at a point where had to struggle through math, especially with a more advanced math where I didn't understand the idea behind the math right away. I felt that what is the point of studying these weird symbols that I don't think I will ever use in my life? But I invested a little bit more time into learning and understanding the problems and the questions. And all of a sudden, when I had that aha moment of, oh, this is what it's talking about. I understand it now. And now all of a sudden it becomes interesting. So every uninteresting things at some point have turned interesting for me. It's just a matter of getting there. If that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Did you play sports while studying, like in school?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Did you play sports while you're studying in school?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I play sports. In high school, I played sports, and in college, I played sports. And I'm working now, and I still play sports. It's mostly soccer. So you just have to be very good at this thing called time management. So you have to figure out how to not waste time. So if you have 10 hours of time, and 9 hours of that time you just spend um, being bored and not doing anything and just procrastinating, or telling your parents that you don't want to study, and then that 1 hour you study, right? That's 10 hours wasted. But if you have 10 hours and you um, study and get your work done in the first 2 hours, and then you have 8 hours where you go out and play soccer, right? That's time management. You can actually learn that skill a lot earlier in life and apply that skill when you go to college. And all of a sudden you can go go play soccer, you can go dance, you can go sing, you can play instruments, you can do whatever you want to do, and be successful in your studies, and get all your homework done. So it's possible.
Okay.
I have
Thanks.
a question.
Yes, Anish.
What's the hardest subject you ever did?
What is the hardest subject that I've ever studied? I think the hardest subject for me has to be English. When I first moved from Nepal to America, um, I just did not understand the way people spoke here. So the words made sense, but the way people pronounced the word didn't really make sense. So I just had a hard time when I was following people reading the book. I just couldn't understand anything. So for me, English was the hardest subject.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Mhm. Who had a question?
Barath.
Um, Barath, yeah.
Bharat.
Bharat.
Mm.
Bharat, yeah. You can ask your question.
Have you ever played basketball, and if so, do you like it?
Have I ever played?
Basketball.
Oh, basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've played basketball actually. I used to play basketball when 10 years ago, and I really liked it. I don't like it as much as soccer because I'm really fast, and one, being really fast helps in soccer. Um, it helps in basketball too, but you also have to be fast with your hands. And I'm faster with my legs than I'm with my hands, so that's why I like soccer better. But if I was better with like my hands and like shooting, I would like basketball better, I guess. Do you like basketball?
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay. Is this who's this?
This is Nidhi.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question is, when did you start meditation and how did it like help you more?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, I started meditation when I was a freshman, sorry, sophomore in college. So probably, yeah, a few years ago. So how did it help me? So when I started meditation, I was not doing very well. I had finished. I was about finished with my freshman year at MIT, and my freshman year at MIT did not go that well. I struggled with a lot of classes, and everybody at MIT is just so smart, and I just constantly felt sad because I was not as maybe smart as all of them, and I didn't get as good of a grades as everyone else, obviously, because back in high school I was really smart and I used to be like get a higher score than anyone else. But coming to MIT, that was not the story. So I did not feel that great, and there were some like natural disaster that happened in Nepal. There was an earthquake, and some of my friends were affected by that earthquake, and there were some family situations. So there was a lot of difficult things happening in my life in my freshman year, um, and during my sophomore year I started meditating because there was a random event that I joined in college. I How it helped me was in a lot of different ways. So meditation really helped me stay focused and present, and it helped me enjoy my life a little bit more. So I found myself moving through life and just doing chores. When I was a sophomore year, I felt like I was just going to classes, doing the assignments, um, sending, doing laundry. Like all of these tasks felt like chores that I had to do because I signed up for it. Um, Meditation all of a sudden helped me realize that I can enjoy everything that I do in life. So every single task that I did, I wasn't doing it because I had to. I did it because it felt enjoyable. Every, uh, and I know it's a little subtle point, but it just helped me enjoy life in general.
I have
Okay.
Okay, who was that?
it's Sandy.
Okay, Sandy, yeah. What's your question?
So like, how exactly did you adapt and like stick to your schedule?
In 6 years?
Like, how did you adapt to all like your new life here, and how did you like stick to your studies and all that?
Okay, so how did I adapt to coming to America? Yeah, that's a really great question. I actually don't know how I did that. uh, it uh, it was mostly just that strong desire to go do well in my studies. That was one thing that was driving me and helping me adapt. Um, but I think my teachers were a big reason in helping me adapt. So I didn't have a lot of friends when I came to the US. I so friends, if I had friends, it would be much easier to adapt because you can share how you feel about everything with them. And slowly I thought that I had to only be friends with the people that look like me and people who have been through the same struggles as me. So I could not um, really connect or be friends with everyone else. I was looking for people who knew what my life was like and who had also been refugees previously, but that wasn't possible because not everyone had gone through that life. And especially in the IB class that I went to, nobody there was even from Nepal. And most of them never really had to struggle in the way that I did. So it was tough, but I realized that actually you can open up and connect with anyone if you really want to, and share joys and sorrows and everything in life. So I started making friends that maybe they don't look like me, maybe they're different, they have different thoughts and feelings and ideologies. So because of that, I think because I was open to connecting with other people, it made my life a little easier to adapt to the States, and I started having friends, making a lot of friends, and now to this day I continue to make friends that think very differently than I do, because I think that is something that has helped me adapt to living here. Because if I hadn't gone out of my comfort zone and make friends that don't have the same thoughts and feelings as me, I don't think I would have ever adapted to living in the US. Does that answer?
It does. And I also have another question. Like, did you ever get scared? And if you did, like, how did you like get rid of that fear?
That's a really good question. I definitely was scared at times because I didn't know what, like not having friends here and not knowing how to study, and how to go about life. It was very scary. But what I did was I leaned on my family and friends. um, I had a family that supported me. I had my teachers, my friends who were always there for me. So I looked to them whenever I was scared, and told them honestly that I was scared, that I don't know whether I would be able to do it. In fact, before I joined the IB program, I went to the teacher who taught me English and said, "This looks like really hard. There are people there who have been preparing for these classes all their life, and I just finished learning English. I don't know if I can do this," because I was scared. And she was able to come back and say, "You don't understand what you have. You are special, and you're really smart, and you can achieve more than anyone because you have that drive." And I agreed with her. Right, every time I'm scared of anything, I lean on my friends and my families to provide a sense of support. um, and now I think I have managed to overcome a lot of those fears, and I move forward with more conviction. I guess I can use that word. Yes. um, does that answer the question?
It does. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your questions.
I had a question. At any point, did you ever feel like giving up? And if so, what motivated you to keep on going? And did that ever help you now?
Oh, yes. Wow. These are such good questions. Let me think. Did I ever feel like giving up? I think there were times. It was not in high school. I think high school I was fine. I was very motivated. I was very driven. But after coming to MIT, I think I had a moment where I thought, "Oh, okay, I made it to MIT. I have achieved my goals. Now what do I do?" And now after coming to MIT, I thought I would never be as smart as everyone else around me at MIT, and I was struggling with my classes. And around the same time, someone close to me had passed away, and then the earthquake had happened, like I told you. So I was not in a really good position, and I think that point I really felt like I could not move on, and I should not carry forward, and maybe take a gap year, or maybe do something else. I definitely had that thoughts. And believe it or not, circling back to the earlier question, meditation was something that really helped me at that point, in terms of overcoming some of those fears and some of those sense of helplessness, and and because of that, I think I'm a little stronger now. I don't have the same desire to stop doing anything, because all of the journey that I look back on and different times that I've struggled, that kind of keeps me going. Once you overcome one challenge, you realize it's just a little bit easier to overcome the next challenge, because you've made it through the first challenge and you realize, oh, if I can do that, then maybe I can work a little bit harder and achieve a little bit bigger challenge, right? And in the past, since I've accomplished or managed to go over some of the hurdles, now I'm not as scared as before to take on more difficult things. Yeah, and that keeps me going.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Great questions. These are amazing questions. I don't know if we have time left for more questions.
No, if you have questions, continue on. We'll skip Vivek's class today. And it's once in a while we have somebody like this. So feel free if you have anything else you want to comment or questions, even parents want to say something. So I hope it helped with Abhiskar sharing his story and answering all your questions. So you have a few more minutes left and you're welcome to ask him whatever you have.
Yeah. Are there any more questions?
Yeah, thank you once again, Abhiskar. We wish you a lot more success and a lot of happiness. Wish you the best. Keep coming to, share more stories, and I hope you keep inspiring our kids.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I would, since this is Zoom, maybe I will join one of the future sessions, and I would love. I'm also, while you all were learning, I was also listening to the class, and I myself was learning a lot. So this sounds like an amazing opportunity to absorb this knowledge that I didn't really get to observe when I was young. I knew Bhagavad Gita was a holy book, but I never really had the opportunity to learn it. So this is amazing platform that we all have set up, and I wish all the best for all of the bright, like, just by hearing the questions, I know all the students in this class are brilliant and smart and wise. So I have no doubt you will accomplish great things in the future.
All the credits go to Jyotsna and Vivek.
Yes.
And don't you think things happen for a reason? He just happened to come today. So Vivek said either today or tomorrow, and so he just happened to come, and he said he had some time and he'll stay over. So I said, oh, then why not? I mean, he's the right person to address the class. So I think it happens, and it was a win-win both sides. He said he didn't know the Gita, so there must be a reason why he was in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And you all were lucky to hear from him too.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you, Abhiskar, for motivating the kids, sharing your story. But it was really inspiring. Like, you had so many holding you back the things, but you still overcame, and then you achieved so much. Yeah, it's really inspirational and motivational. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, I'm glad I had the opportunity to share my story. Yeah. And I'm glad it meant something to all of you. Yeah, and thank you for listening. So and turning on your cameras and giving me your attention. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I honestly I want to take time. Vivek's class probably. Well, thanks for creating this space for me. I feel a little bad about taking Vivek's time, but this is great. All of you, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. You guys are amazing.
Bye.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jyotanti. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Okay, we'll continue next week with the Lalita Sahasranama and the
Fine.
math. Okay. Okay.
And
Bye.
I have some.
Bye.
Good. Thanks, Jasna. Bye, Avishkar. Good luck. Thanks, Vivek. Bye.
Really?
You should,
That's it.
you're unable to say hi to your students.